This is Lansdowne, Irish football's most interactive podcast, and tonight we're talking about James McClean and his controversial appearance on RT's A Pundit during the week. He had a lot to say. Did he have a point? We're going to be talking about that. We want to hear from you about that as well. Plus, what next for John O'Shea? What next for the boys in green? It's England up in September. What are we going to do? This and more coming up on Lansdowne Roar. For the fans, by the fans. Very sorry about that there, folks. Slight technical hitch. I forgot to take my microphone off mute. This whole window has just been one gaff. Anyway, David Dunn here, joined by Martin Prendergast. We hope you are well, folks. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Lansdowne Roar Live, which is normally, if you're watching us for the first time during this window, especially over in Republic of Ireland Player Tracker, hello, by the way, on Twitter, we tend to wrap up the window normally a day or two after the final game, and this is it. But Martin, we've a lot to talk about here tonight, haven't we? But it's not just the window, it's certain Mr. McClean. He was very busy, wasn't he, in RTE? We'll get to that in a second. But how are you? You were on the red eye yesterday morning, were you?
I was red-eyed for most of the day, Dave. Yeah, great to be on. Fantastic support of the show as well over the window. So thanks again to everybody who's listened to the games. You know, we covered the Hungary game fantastically well from Lansdowne Road, and then we were both on our travels. There we are.
Apparently, I was very. What did somebody call me?
Was it me?
What did he call me? Not voluptuous. What was the other one?
Delicious. I don't know what it was.
Delicious.
Something like that. But I thought we better get one together. Yeah, but we caught up with a lot of the Raw faithful and messages and stuff, and really good feedback from everyone who listens to the show.
Jason.
Myself and Jason. Geez, I look a bit bleary-eyed there, and I think that was only one beer in, to be honest, and that is true. Lovely spot, wasn't it, Vera? You were a bit there longer than I was, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, we'll obviously talk a little bit about the game, I'm sure, but it was a really nice spot. Any Irish fans I met said they were having a great time, and I mean, some of the Irish fans, I'll give a shout out to Nolan Devlin. He had his stag do there, combined it with an Irish trip, which fair play, and met Cole Chew, of course, a good listener of the show, and the secretary of Wrist London, and I met up with a lot of the Wrist London, obviously, members as well. So, I really enjoyed it. It was a long day because I was literally 24-hour one for me. So, it was interesting because it was a bit of a nightmare, wasn't it? Getting into the ground was a bit crazy. Getting out the ground was crazy. I mean, these stadiums are built in the middle of nowhere for the Euros, and I thought it was absolutely lethal. And like we basically, they stopped the traffic on the motorway leaving to get you in and out of the stadium, and
trying to get in.
Crazy.
Trying to get in, they had like places where there was supposed to be paths built, it was just like kind of dirt tracks, and they just had, it was just overgrown. I've got a big red mark. Can't see. Oh, big red mark there. See there?
Oh, I've got a license for them guns.
Where is it? Oh, I can't see because the microphone.
I can see it. Yeah. Oh,
big red mark. Absolutely cut. No, there you go. For the lads. Get them out for the lads.
Yeah. But you didn't get any sun there then, did you? Clearly. You'd go just red, would you?
I did, yeah. I went red. Yeah, I wasn't angry. I was wasn't volatile. I was just, I absolutely, like, just got cut to shreds with the weeds and all that going up to it. Police officer just stood there. I just came out of this bush and he's just like, typical Portuguese lad. It was that was, it was an interesting one. But of course we'll talk a bit more of that when we get to the game. But I mean, James McClean, we're going to talk about that now. And before I do actually see some of the comments coming in there, guys, look, it's an open floor. We'll get to the comments. Have your say. Leave a comment and get involved. We're going to talk about, were you at the game? What was your experience like? Let us know. Plus, we're going to talk about James McClean. Did you see it? Did you see him in RT? I had it on the RT player watching in the stadium. I was a bit like, wow. He really let rip here. We're going to play some of those clips there. But tell us what you think, our lovely Roar faithful. Do you agree with James McClean? Gonna play. You didn't see any of this, Martin, did you? When it was happening, you were obviously in the ground. So
yeah, I was in the ground. Yeah, so I didn't see any of it. No, and then obviously, like just saw afterwards that look, he's gone in hard and maybe
Yeah.
2-footed. Would that be
Uh,
a football analogy to go in with?
Well, it certainly would be. Well, we're going to play a clip here. It's about, it's 1 minute, just about 1 minute, and it's on our. This is him on RT punditry, going on bemoaning the fact that we went from being a team hard to beat to a team, well, not so hard to beat. Well, have a listen. Tell us what you think.
But it's a trade that's served us well, and like, you know, we qualified for 2 tournaments, Euro 2012 and 16, and we got the playoff under Mick McCarthy. So if Mick had been in charge, we potentially may have got the 3 in a row under that style of play. So I think nowadays you can get kind of sucked on the whole total football and statistics. Like, yeah, we had 59% possession, but a lot of it was across the back line, and we lost the game. Like, we've always been hard to beat, and I think in the last 3 years we've gone away from that. Like, that's what we've built our foundations on: hard to beat and having a bit of nastiness about us. And then, because you're always going to get opportunities in game, and then we take the opportunity. So, no, hearing them comments and seeing the last 3 games we've played, we have become hard to beat again. Yeah. And I think that's, like I said, that's what our foundations are built on.
Well, I don't think we're too hard to beat. A couple of hours later in Aveiro. Just one thing before we start. Just want to correct what James McClean said, and Darren Maloney didn't correct him on it. Mick McCarthy did not get us to a playoff for Euro 2020. We had that playoff because of our performance in the Nations League under Martin O'Neill in the 2018 Nations League, where we lost. We got hammered and we got relegated, and because of the UEFA rules, they changed it. It was a 3-team group. They changed to a 4-team group, so we were put back inside. So Mick McCarthy did not get us to a play. Not having to go, Mick, just stating the facts. That was down to a very poor Nations League campaign. So just wanted to correct James McClean there. Yet again, Roar Faithful, see the comments coming in. What did you think of that? We're going to play 2 more clips in a second. But Martin, so he's bit of a 2-foot challenge for Stephen Kenny there.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know the comments coming through and stuff, and it's tempting to read them, and we know everyone's got opinions on these things, and we'll obviously cover the comments.
Oh, we'll get to those.
James is a very opinionated person. Has had whatever way you can. I don't really see it's an argument as to say, oh, he was mediocre, McClean, or he was, he was average at best. He should never have got 100 caps. Fact is, he did. He's always turned up for his country, and did very well. And we'll always have those mad moments. Obviously, being in the stadium, Wales and Austria away. He was our best player. He got a Player of the Year, didn't he? He was our best player in one of them campaigns at least.
Yeah, but
he was
why?
Our main goal threat.
Is he ruining?
No, I'm just saying. Well, no. Well, I think what he's trying to do is he is getting his he's getting his opinion out there. He's getting his dare I say it, like a future career out of football. He's already been brought in as a pundit for the Euros on RTE. That's been revealed today as well. He's a very divisive character, as we know. But this is an indication perhaps of how some of the players have been feeling for quite a bit of a time. He's the first one. I mean, it's a very strange relationship, the Stephen Kenny thing with James McClean. He helped him, didn't he, back in the day in Derry. I was very uncomfortable watching the press conference when they were talking about how well he was done. It was actually a lovely moment. It was Stephen Kenny really showing a lot of emotion, as he is wont to do. But when he was talking about I remember that, and McClean sitting there, it kind of shows a little bit of kind of falseness from kind of both parties in a way. Not, I would say more on James's side in that media.
He didn't say any, like the thing with James McClean, though, he didn't say anything there in the press conference. And he said in a separate press conference with Tony O'Donoghue, which is actually later that day, or was the day after, and then he started going, I feel disrespected, I feel this, I feel that. I'm thinking, okay, why aren't you saying it there with the manager? You can say, well, I don't want to spoil the moment. Yeah, but it doesn't make a difference when a few hours later we have another press conference or an interview with Tony O'Donoghue being released. And Go on.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, just I think important though that in the context of that James McClean, the ending for him with Ireland and New Zealand was James revealed basically that he wasn't picked in that squad first, didn't he? Before Ireland even announced it. That one, the fun he was
So he
not
clearly
in,
took
and
it.
then he came back for New Zealand, so he wasn't happy. We know that. And then there was a bit of kind of reconciliation attempt by Kenny, and I think in that press conference saying what a fantastic career he's had. James clearly not happy. He's not let that go. He's done really well out of this punditry wise because everyone's talking about it. But he is going in on Kenny, and he's going in on the record. And
I think it lacks class. I think it lacks class.
Well, I think though it's
no,
it's not great. But again,
no,
I
it
think
lacks class, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, but like it when it's it does.
There's no.
But I think that's just I'm not surprised by that because of James McClean as a character with every other thing he's had in his career.
I just think it lacks class. He's
very volatile, isn't he?
He's had a fantastic career, 100 caps. I'm not going to get into that. We know what he's like as a player. Always wears his heart on the sleeve. Consummate professional on the pitch in terms of the way he looks after himself. He's abroad at the moment. Actually, saw his Instagram and he's off training, he's off running. So he's in phenomenal shape for somebody who's 34, 35. But he was, he signed for a team, Wrexham, fourth tier of English football. Fair play. I don't know if it was a big pay there or not. Whatever, grand. And then, Stephen, the manager, felt, well, look, fourth tier, I'm sorry, but that's a little bit. Third tier, maybe, but fourth tier, nah, I can't really have that. And I think he threw his toys out of the pram a little bit about it. He had a fantastic send-off. He got to, on his 100 cap, he got to captain the side. It was against Gibraltar. He played well against Gibraltar, by the way. Gibraltar, to be fair. And then he got to, he got a fantastic send-off at TV at Lansdowne Road. And he went out on his own terms. You look at some of the players that didn't go out on their own terms. Ronnie Whelan's last game against Ireland was the 3-1 hammering, the Harry's Challenge game, because he got booked, second yellow card. Ronnie Whelan, Roy Keane, his last game was the game against France. Kevin Kilban never got a phone call from Trapp. That was it. He was done. And I think he broke the record for playing the most matches, competitive matches consecutively. Never even got a phone call from the manager. So, I don't know why he's putting the boot in here, whether he's right or wrong. Well, anyway, I see the comments coming in there. We're going to get to the next clip. Do you think he lacks class, James McClean? What you're saying? Do you think he's putting the boot into Kenny? Let us know. We'll get to them. Here's the second clip. He's asked, just take this down. He's asked, would you give the job to John O'Shea? John O'Shea, of course, you mentioned that. Oh, yeah, the door's open for James McClean. But anyway, here's the clip.
Would you give John O'Shea the job?
Absolutely. I don't see you've nothing to lose by doing so. People get fixated on, he hasn't got the experience, but how do you get experience? You get experience by being in the role. Like, I'm not saying John is Pep Guardiola, but if you look at the time, Guardiola had no experience when he got the Barcelona job. Like, I think he had a year or two at the Barcelona B team. So you don't know until he's in that role. And I think so far, he's done pretty okay so far. If you look at the teams we've played, they're ranked a lot higher than us. Missed a penalty against Belgium. Probably should have won that game. Switzerland, good side, got beat with a free kick. And then obviously beating Hungary, we're 14 games unbeaten and going quite well. So I think he's done an alright job so far. And let's be honest, it's not like, the process now, we're nearly a year into the process.
That's leading into another clip, and we'll talk about that one in a second. So yeah, he says, give him the job. What have the FAI got to lose? Now, I agree with him on that one, to a respect. Like, John O'Shea would not be my first choice. They had a name from the very beginning. I went, oh, okay, but right, if you can't get Carsley, you can't get Anthony Barry, because I'm realistic in where we are and who we can attract. It's going to be, as I said, it's going to be a passion project, or it's going to be somebody at the end of the career, or at the very beginning of the career. So we're limited there. I do see what he's saying. Like, what have they got to lose now, and what's been going on? But he's talking about, like, the games, like, we've done well. We did well against Belgium. We were terrible against Switzerland. The Hungary game was a dreadful performance, but we won it. Fair enough. We'll take it. And then, to be honest with you, it was a bit of a fisting against Portugal, later on that night. But what do you make of it? Don't really know where to go after that. Same.
Well, just on the right, so caliber of opposition. Yeah, look, like I kind of do agree with James there that they're higher ranked teams than us. Ronaldo, I think Ronaldo and Portugal. We were kind of expecting, like, I was optimistic, thinking we might get a draw, and that was only going to be if they were half-assed. But they went out, and there were just the levels of quality is ridiculous there. And I liked actually listening to John O'Shea's interview with Tony O'Donoghue after, where he did say about the levels and the errors, basically not looking after the ball like enough. Like, there was 2 errors we made basically for 2 of their goals, switched off on a short corner. But it could have been a lot worse. I mean, Ronaldo hit the post, didn't he, from the free kick as well. But I think they're a quality outfit. They would beat us in a qualifier. Portugal, we know that. Hungary was a great. I was very opinionated on here saying about the Hungary game. We actually got a win, and everyone's still moaning. They're expecting it overnight. They were going to be a brilliant footballing team. He's had 4 games working with them, O'Shea. I'm not surprised by James McClean saying that he thinks John O'Shea should get the job, because we know the process has been absolutely farcical, the recruitment. I mean,
don't spoil it, Martin.
No, I'm just saying we know that, right? So, and I've seen even like people are still in the dark. We don't know what's happening now. So it's just very frustrating. I'm not surprised McLean's saying that John O'Shea could get it, because we also know that O'Shea probably messaged him saying well done on the promotion, and James probably replied, well, like, I'm available if you need me, kind of thing. I don't have that kind of stuff.
I don't have that clip, but yeah, he did turn around and say, "Oh yeah, like I've had a rethink. I got to go out with my." And that's the thing. Like, Stephen Kenny facilitated him to go out on his own terms. He said, "I've got to do that, but you know what? I'm never really going to be retired from Ireland." I admire his. And by the way, I said that, by the way, and you
did.
That, yes, I did. I said he'll be back, or he'll look to come back. He'll never retire.
He'll want to come back, but whether he does or not, I mean, and to be honest, it is a problem position, largely for us. The left side has been, even in these games, we've had Brady, O'Dowd are in there. I mean, we'll come on maybe a little bit later. I mean, I think Moshe did make an error in the starting lineup against Portugal, which we might come on and discuss later on.
We'll talk about that in a bit, yeah.
But I just think McLean is going to be honest, and I don't think he's got any other way of doing it. He's always going to have a opinion on things, and it's going to be one that grabs a lot of headlines. And it's good insight in a way to maybe how the squad are feeling, and he's been part of it. I mean, Darragh O'Shea was very vocal as well coming out. I mean, we know that Coleman said it, O'Shea said it, a few of them have said they're quite supportive of O'Shea getting it, and I think they're seeing a lot of positive things, perhaps that wasn't there under Kenny, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm always a defender of John O'Shea, as you know, with regards to people are saying, well, he was part of Kenny's backroom staff and stuff. I'm not really having that argument, because I don't think he had too much of a say. I think he was actually brought in, and there I am with him. Yeah, that's the dream team. Mark Canham should see that photo, and that's who he should bring in. Especially, imagine us falling around bars at 2:00 in the morning. Not that happened.
Get the team morale. No, you were a very good boy in Navarro.
I was. But I just, we want resolution with it. Want a new manager appointed now. I don't think we need to wait that long. I know they're going to wait till the end of the Euros probably now, but I'm hoping there's going to be more progress on this.
Yeah, now just looking here at the comments, there's a bit of a war of words going on with Connor, Republic of Ireland player tracker Connor there. Oh dear. Also, he did actually say into the group, "Fuck off, Prendy, with your Doherty shirt."
Shall I tell you the context of the Doherty shirt and why I've deliberately done that? This is actually in relation to my travels to Aveiro. So I got a flight into Porto, then I got a bus. Thank you, Dave, for your advice on where to get the bus from and everything. So anyway, I got the bus, and a lovely little pleasant journey along, and I was chatting away to you on WhatsApp and all sorts. And I noticed a lady get on with an Ireland hat on, and there were 2 Ronaldo Man United shirts that, fanboys basically. And then another gentleman with the lady. And it was actually, I established afterwards, they were chatting a little bit. And I said, I think, and he's the guy said, "Oh, my son plays for Ireland," and he showed a photo, and I couldn't really see the photo anyway. But anyway, they were chatting away a little bit. Everyone's obviously getting to Aveiro. And when we got disembarked, is that the word? Getting off the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I just caught up with him and said, "Oh, what's your plans now? Are you related to one of the players?" And it was actually Doherty's mum and dad. Very nice couple. Was chatting to them about just basically how was he finding the camp, long season, things like that. And it was interesting insight, to the players' views perhaps of the coaches, very praising of obviously secondhand from Matt Doherty himself, but very praising of Anthony Barry, who we were coming up against later on. Said he was a fantastic coach. But yeah, it was nice insight, and I did ask about the the comments, and we spoke about on the last show about Matt Doherty's post after the Hungary game, and yeah, very insightful. Just saying that he was just a bit deprecating.
Yeah, I just want to. I've got that here. This one here, just for the record, for anybody watching hasn't seen this before, he was taking the piss. Like he wasn't moaning. He wasn't. It was just like he knew he had a bad game, and Shane Duffy knew he had a bad game. Himself had a bad game. It was a bad game. So it wasn't, just for clarity, because I think that it got a bit
exactly that. Like a lot of the fans call him out saying, "Oh, he doesn't even care." No. That's not the case. I've got the Doherty shirt up there now, just as a bit of a kind of joke with
Martin's new favorite player. Callum O'Dowda is dumped.
Well, yeah, I've got a few shirts around, to be honest. But no, like what was interesting though was the reaction. I was saying, well, the fans have read it that way, but I have on my journeys and travels watching Ireland, and I often go to the team hotel and get chatting to people, obviously, and family members are there and stuff. Such a hanger-on I am, Dave. I'm the ultimate fanboy. But I do obviously get chatting to people and stuff, and you are familiar with people when you go on trips.
Mm-hmm.
However, you're always catching up with people, aren't you? It's like a little Irish family. But what's interesting is anytime you speak to parents of players, they're very scathing and protective of their sons, obviously, but it's very scathing of not the fans. It's more the media coverage of things and how they blow everything up and they sensationalize everything. And we all say here, the show we do is obviously by the fans for the fans. We want your insight and your feedback and your views, honestly. And what most people just don't like off the ball or talk sport in England, where it's just wind up radio. Like we're not doing that for clickbaits or anything. We don't do that. No. We're just honestly saying how it is. But I can understand that, and that's the players then and supporters do get their backs up by some of the media coverage when it just sensationalizes even the most minor quips. And we're very lucky as Ireland fans that, I saw a load of photos from fans over in Aveiro, and they're having photos of John O'Shea and the lads are on a walk around. They'll always stop. Our lads, we're not kept away from them. And I think most match-going fans, dare I say it, kind of understand the way it is.
Are you after Doherty to sign that fucking shirt, Martin? Is that what it is?
I could get it signed if I wanted. No, it's good. It's good chat when mutual friends.
This is Martin now. He'll be on this Instagram. Oh, hi, Matt.
Another point, though, very like was the players are at the end of June, and a lot of them are protecting where they are going to be club-wise as well, and that's important.
We'll get to that. We're still talking about James McClean and his classless act. We've got one more clip there, and this is about what he thinks of the process of finding Stephen Kenny's permanent replacement.
It's not like, the process now, we're nearly a year into the process and we still haven't had a manager, so, it's a bit of a farce in that sense. So I think John's done his chances no harm whatsoever.
So you use the word farce to describe what has happened in the search for
it is. We're nearly a year on, and each week there's a new name mentioned and this person's been interviewed, and I like to be flying the wall to see what's actually going on in these interviews, because look, I might be naive, but I think it's a pretty good job they have. So for people to keep turning it down, it begs the question, what's actually going on?
I think that.
And then Stephen Kelly just turns around and says that the FAI are looking to have somebody like John O'Shea to kind of strung him along a little bit. So he says it's a farce. There's no argument there. We don't need to. It's a farce, and we know it's a farce, a process. So full marks. It's a 10 for that one across the way. But he turns around and says he's done himself no harm, John, and he wonders what's going on in the process. Like what are they saying? Why do so many managers appear to not want it? Now we don't know if anyone's turned it down per se. Well, I suppose apparently Carsley did, didn't he? So I don't know of anyone who's totally, it's all conjecture, isn't it? Apparently Anthony Barry turned it down, but you can kind of what I mean is, let me rephrase it. For example, I understand why Anthony Barry turned it down, because he's at Bayern Munich and he's at Portugal, who will probably win the tournament in the summer. So you know what I mean. Like I understand that, but if someone like I don't know not Seamus Coleman, Chris Coleman, did he turn it down or was he told no? Did Neil Lennon turn it down or was he told no? That we don't know. So that is conjecture. But what did you make of that? Like what is being said by Mark Canham and Packy Bonner and Jonathan Hill? I know it's no longer the association, but he wasn't he? He was in those interviews at the time.
Yeah, we just know it's an absolute mess. I mean, it's just been speculation. We spent about a month chatting about it and thinking it's going to be announced next week and stuff. And I'm actually pleased to see John O'Shea come out now and say, they're still deliberating on this, or they don't really know what they're doing, but they've got to inform us. They've got to inform the supporters because they need to engage with Irish fans. Look, 800 travelled over to Aveiro for a meaningless end of season friendly. The England game is going to naturally be popular, and it's part of the season ticket package, of course, and there'll be great sales for that game. But we're going in there managerless, and it's not an ideal preparation that, we haven't had we've not got the manager in place. I mean, I don't know really. I've kind of still mixed feelings on it. I mean, I've changed tack so many times and changed opinions. I had Chris Hughton involved at one stage. I think so. The other night, maybe after a few too many drinks, I might have even said get Big Sam in because it would be a good crack at least.
Did you say that to me in the bar?
I think I might have said that just as a good crack. It'll be a good crack because anytime I've heard about Big Sam, the players seem to love him, and he's a great record with England, didn't he? My other 100%. Team did, apparently. It's just gone quiet. Mark Canham's gone quiet, and yet we're just dripping along now. And it's interesting. John O'Shea is going over to the Euros to kind of watch some games now. I think that's just part of his own, dare I say it, coaching journey, and he's doing analysis of these future opposition, perhaps. But I just think we just need some clarity. I think John O'Shea is near enough asking, like, you need. I think I'm getting from John O'Shea is, if you come back to me again and offer me the interim thing, that is a proper insult, I think, and don't go with that. And
I think that's when I mentioned on the post match, on the aftermath, which is in the archives. I said that if we're still in the situation, because someone asked the question, when does Canham's position become untenable? I don't know if it's not a million miles away from it, but I said, yeah, if we still don't have a manager sorted out for the September game, he has to go. Has to go.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about that is, and this is my worry about the pathway, and I don't want to go off tack because I think this is key that we're talking about McClean and John O'Shea and where we are now, but that whole pathway was designed, and we've come up with it from the input from Mark Canham. It's a lot of trust on one person to say we're putting that thing in place, and it's not worked. Who he wants to get in as that manager, he's never even, or the interim, well, the main coach or whatever it is, the head coach idea. He's not actually able to deliver on that. So he's a man under pressure. But what happens if it goes, like, what happens if that goes wrong and we don't get the person he's got his eye on, and or even that it comes too much for him and he walks away from it, and we've got this pathway which the guy actually who's come up with it hasn't designed. It's absurd, really. He wants to put all these things in place on his idea and philosophy of Irish football development, and yet he might not be the man to be able to deliver that because he can walk away anytime. Like, I do think it's important that kind of point's made. Look, I did lots of gossip. I mean, everyone in the Irish crowd was chatting a lot during the game, to be honest, because it wasn't fantastic to watch. But everyone was asking the question, would you give it to O'Shea? Would you? Yeah, I mean, look, we said in the last show, didn't we, that I put out 2 polls, one before Hungary and one after we won. And 68% said no to John O'Shea. And after we won, 74%. Now, I know we've corroborated that it's not the same people voting, of course, and perhaps a different kind of voting mindsets. But, I just think it's just so much speculation still. One interesting thing I heard was that a player, I won't name the player, but he had said, and it's not Matt Doherty, just to be clear, it wasn't from that conversation, but a player did say that they were told by Mark Canham that it was Willie Sagnol he was coming in, and that was in the last window in March, that they said that's who's coming in, but then they didn't deliver that, and that is obviously because they were banking, if that is the case, they were banking on them not qualifying for the Euros, which they have done. So is it going to be him? I don't know, because I think the idea of they wanted Irish, I don't know if that necessarily is important, but is
I
he
don't know.
a coach who develops and things like that?
I don't know.
Where does John O'Shea go back? Does he go back to be an assistant? Is he part of the backroom setup? There's just more questions than answers.
And yet again, if you do go, let's say you have John O'Shea number 2 or number 1 or whatever, could they undermine the manager? Could Willie Sandall go, well, actually, no, you're kind of undermining me a bit now, because they know you've had them for 4 games. I'm the boss. I don't want him going to you. If I tell him something that I don't want him, that he might not be happy with, and he goes to you, so, that kind of thing, it might happen, and that dynamic. But we'll get into, because the comments are flying in just very quickly.
Just one thing. Sorry, Dave, to go. Like, if Winnie Sandall, if he has a really good tournament now with Georgia, the risk is, like, club football comes calling for him. There's loads of people out of jobs now. The guy from Dortmund's just gone. You don't.
We're not the mass. We're not the masters of our own destiny here.
No.
Mark Hannum has created. Mark Hannum, Packy Bonner, and Jonathan Hill, the powers that be, have created a situation now where we are free falling. We are not actually free falling. We're just listing. We're just going with it, and we're just kind of drifting into this massive game against England in September, which is going to be tasty. And the thing is, England have one of the best squads in the world. But there's enough there in the Ireland team, I believe, with the right man in charge, with the right amount of time, can do something with that team. It's not a terrible team. It was a terrible game against Portugal, but it's not a terrible team. It's a good, there's some good players there. There's enough quality there with the game plan, but that takes time. And we have whoever comes in hasn't had, even if it's John O'Shea, he's had it under the pretense that you're just the interim manager, so you haven't actually been able to do what you wanted to do. Say, sorry, James, I love you, mate, but fuck off. Or, sorry, Shane, but your time's up. We need to go a different direction. Where he can start, like, bringing in the changes, and then he's had those few months to shape the team the way he wants to. Because I don't think, if he does get it, he hasn't been given, he hasn't shaped the team the way he wants it. That's my belief. He's just, as I said, he's just been keeping it warm. Just very quickly, we will get to the comments. Obviously, with the Portugal game, you were at it very quickly.
Look. Some people, I won't name them, but they've written off Cristiano Ronaldo.
Let me tell you something. He will not get that amount of space against a top team. And and you said that to me in the bar afterwards, and you agree with me. And all the other lads agree.
He will score goals if he's given opportunities. And that's
given
space.
And that's what
do. But it doesn't matter. He's still, like, the second one even is clinical. The free kick, which he doesn't really score from free kicks anymore. He nearly did. But, he's just playing a different kind of way now to adapt to his body and conserve his energy, but he just comes alive. And I thought they're excellent working on set pieces as well. They've done the same corner 3 times and nearly scored. Second half especially, they do this short corner to Bruno Fernandes, goes out, and it results in a shot. And Kelleher played very well. I know he got run of the match for us, but you can see the impact Anthony Barry's having on set pieces. This is a very good side, this Portugal side. They made 5 changes at half time.
And who
kept the ball very easily.
And whose fault is that? That's the coaching team, isn't it?
What?
If you're getting caught out by short corners constantly. We got caught out by Hungary constantly. We're getting caught out by Portugal. So clearly,
but you've got limited time of preparation. I mean, look, Portugal are well along their journey with it. I mean, I know, but you're adapting in game as
basics.
And what I would say is, it just, the quality levels were just completely and the small not small margins, because it wasn't, but like your centre technically is where we really kind of went wrong.
But not from a short corner. Like, I understand
if fell asleep there, but
exactly.
Falling asleep, isn't it?
It was the same against Hungary. It was the same against Hungary. They kept doing the short corners. We never picked them up. They were doing it again. I mean, the team, the starting 11 as well. Connor's got a lot to say in that in the comments. I mean, I didn't get a chance to really talk about it because in the pre-game, because there was a bit of drama in the stadium trying to get set up, and we didn't have a lot of time. But I mean, I was madness playing 2 in midfield against that team, who hit you on, who can hit you in so many different ways, and preferably like to use the channels. They like to use the overlap, and we're playing 2 pivots in midfield. He should have packed a midfield, and he's playing 2 strikers. it's a game that you go to the striker. Look, I'm sorry, you're going to get nothing. You're going to get scraps. You're going to be like Oliver going up. Can I have some more, sir? Sorry, you can't. The ball kitchen's closed. Good luck. Just feed off the scraps. Stuff like that, man. That's pretty basic stuff as well. I wasn't impressed with that.
I think I think he got it wrong. To be honest, I think
never changed it though.
I didn't see why he had to start Troy Parrott. It wasn't as if he come on and scored 2 goals. I know he got the winning goal, but he wasn't all right. It will say I'm absurd, but like he wasn't a game changer. All right, he got a goal, but his performance wasn't. Oh, he must start the next game. It wasn't influential in any other ways, really. What I would say though, he should have set up as they did, dare I say it, against France at home, where you have to have an outball like Ogbene. Right, I know Ogbene's not there, but Mikey Johnson was definitely there for that, to run at Delot or whoever was going to be playing on the right. And that's what we had to have. We didn't have enough mobility. You had to have legs in that midfield, so you had to have Jason Knight in there, probably running more, because he's another one I've felt a lot of sympathy for him, because he just gets put in different positions, never really gets to shine any of them, but will do a solid job. It was a massive baptism of fire for Jake O'Brien. We all clamoured to wanting him to start, but and Liam Scales as well. It was interesting. We had a bit of a chat in the pub about Scales, and a lot of Irish fans are Celtic fans, and they were saying, at the top level, and even goes, teams target him. I'll look at this a bit more in some depth, like haven't had it said to me, but I've spoken to even fans of Celtic over here, like in social circles, and they say, "Oh, geez, that lad from Ireland's pure shite." But and teams target him. I've heard it from different people from social circles, and it's like, that's quite interesting to hear. Like, okay, and that's like Rangers did it. It is probably the quality there. One of the goals as well. It was, it's very tough. It was tough again in that France game when it just went up to Ferguson. He was anonymous in that game, I remember, at Lansdowne Road. But when we had Adam Eder up there, you've got to do everything to look after that ball when it comes near you, and it was just bouncing off him. And that's where actually we lost the ball for one of their goals. And I think it was the third one, I think it might have been. It's gone up to him, or like, whatever you say, though, I'm going to come back to he stood off him a mile, Ronaldo, but to execute that top corner, like, it was unbelievable.
You give any professional footballer space and time, and they're going to punish you.
No way.
Come on out. Man United things. Anyway, do you agree? No. We're going to get to the comments. Do you agree, Martin? As you got Ronaldo's 39. Do us a favor. Right. Before we get into the comments, just want to remind you guys, first time watchers or listeners, as we are live on Republic of Ireland Player Tracker. Thank you, Connor. And of course, Lansdowne Roar and Lansdowne Road, Twitter and Facebook, and of course the YouTube channel. But if you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel and you're watching here, you got the QR code down the bottom right. That gives you our link tree, and you can head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And please, we are trying to grow the YouTube channel as well. And if you want opinion, head over to lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. Martin, we're going to enter my favorite part of the program, the comments. Right, let's get into it. A few tasty ones coming in there. And by the way, keep those comments coming in. Keep them coming in. And we'll get to them. Right, first one. Hold on. Bit of a... Here we are. Jason Irwin, what did he say? That's obviously in James McClean. Have a listen back to the start, Jason. We did talk about it. We did play the clips. And if you are just joining us live, if you head back to the beginning of the podcast, we play 3 James McClean quotes, what he said as a pundit. Very controversial there as well. So have a look back on that. Dara over on Twitter. They have no one lined up. Manager, this is. Difficult to have any faith in them. Callum is scaring them off. What do you reckon he's saying to them in the team?
No, I think Callum's been told to keep quiet and take a backward step with this and just let it kind of run out. Yeah, but I don't really. Are they even doing interviews at the moment? I think they're just waiting. No. They're obviously doing the feelings out at the moment. Well, Euros, there's no way Willie Sagnol was sitting down chatting to them when he's preparing for a Euros. So it's either going to be him and waiting for the Euros to finish. But otherwise, they're in desperation stakes and they're chatting to everybody. But I think they're going to just wait for the Euros to filter out and then go in for their person they want, unless it's, they're going to just turn around and go, we can't get him now, and or whoever their first, second choice is, if they even have that.
John,
and then they're going
how
to
are you, boy?
They have to have it earlier than waiting 2 weeks before, just to be fair to the players.
Absolutely. Paul Brown, how you doing, Paul? Over on YouTube. Hi, lads. Great works per usual. Thank you very much, Paul. James should keep his opinions to himself. Sounds like he's an axe to grind after dropping out of the Irish 11 following his move to Wrexham. Bitchy, sour grapes. Good man, Paul. Yeah, I wonder if James is watching. I'll probably get... Oh, actually, do you know what? About James McClean's comments? I know what I meant to say. He doubled down on his comments about the possession-based football.
Yeah,
I have him here. Don't you worry. So here he is. Right, this is what he said. This is him on his Instagram, and he's got. Hold on, let me have a look here. So he shows the group stage of when we qualified for Euro 2012, where we finished second for a playoff. Barely, and then he has qualified for Euro 2012, and then he has qualified to Euro 16, got the last 16 in the tournament by finishing third somehow. We got into the knockout stages, and then he goes second in the group, one game away from World Cup, the 2018 one, and then he has equals hard to beat boring football, and then beside it he's got, well, it's underneath, I split it in half, and he's got 2 Stephen Kenny campaigns where we're pretty much well out of the running, and he goes equals exciting possession-based football. We finished third in one group, which ironically would have got us a playoff in Euro 2000 and whatever, the Euro 2016 one. And then he shows the last one, which was a complete disaster for the European Championships, where we finished second from bottom. Then we had somebody called Fat Dave Martin responded. He's a friend of Bill over an Irish football blog. Give him a shout. 2016 qualified based on a new format which Staunton would have qualified on. 2018 lost a 10-man Serbia at home, drew a 10-man Wales at home, drew it 116th in the world Georgia away, got pumped 5-1 at home by a Danish team who we had proven we were more than capable against. That was after Connor had shared that picture, James McClean's Instagram post, and said, I don't even know what to say anymore, over Public Bar and Player Tracker. And then James McClean had this to say: Asher, what do we know? Can relax. Though it's all in good hands. A growing ass man who's never played a game, running a football fan page, probably a virgin also. Don't know. Is that about Connor? And Fat Dave, I thought he was talking about me at one stage. And Fat Dave, who shows up on a Saturday and Sunday morning with Lucas Aid and pays us £2 to play football, thinking he's a player. Have it all figured out. Do me a favor. For fuck's sakes, good night and God bless. Now we know what he thinks of. He said that anyone who runs an Irish football fan page are fannies. So we're fannies, Martin.
Yep.
I know you're a fan.
I think he shows he's out of touch though a little bit. I mean, if you can, I'm sure any lads who do play football on a Saturday and Sunday morning, fair play if you're still doing it and getting up. Big admiration for that. But I don't think anyone's playing £2 subs. Where's he? What world's he living in? You wouldn't be able to hire anywhere with paying £2 a player. So yeah, I don't know what the hell he's on about. Lucas Aid as well.
Maybe in Wrexham. And Lucas.
Yeah.
Really.
But yeah, I mean, again, he doubles down on his comments, doesn't he? And he goes in and I don't know, is he just, is this kind of clever of trying to have a media career and generating interest and stuff?
I think he's very
sometimes go very dark with it and very attention seeking, of course. And
the whole thing, maybe he's a virgin. And Fat Dave.
There's no need for that. Yeah,
like now you're getting personal. I mean, all Dave turned around and said was, look, Dave was right. There's a few asterisks next to some of those qualifying groups. And then James McClean gets all, he called Irish football page owners like you and I, Martin, fannies, which I'm thinking, hold on a second. We help promote the game. in Ireland. We do our best. We tell people to get. We try to drum up interest. We remind them of the good old times, even the ones we make sure the players like Davy Langan, Tony Grealish, these guys are not forgotten about. Not just the big players. Like we do a lot for Irish football. So I'm not having that. You can fuck off with that. Quite frankly,
I think we've been very supportive of James himself, though. Like
and of James McClean.
I'll be honest,
yeah.
like Jesus, some of the stick he gets, and we've been very supportive of that. I know that obviously part of West London and Chris, like we've had, supportive messages have gone out to him, his family, when it has been unacceptable, the abuse he's got, and we've also canvassed different kind of associations to say like it's wrong that he's having to put up with that. So. Lots of us have a lot of admiration for him, without doubt. And, I'm not saying he's the greatest ever player for Ireland, of course, but I have great admiration for him, what he got out of his career, without doubt.
I just think he's a bit nasty sometimes. I just think
he doesn't need to go down the personal thing. He can be bigger than that. And, I think when you start with the insults, and to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Irish fans calling him shite and this and going in backwards at him. I don't think it helps anyone. And it's a bit embarrassing on both sides, really, to be very fair.
It is a bit. Let's move on. Dave McGuinness, how you doing? David McClean was spot on. It's not his fault Kenny kept picking him. As much as I didn't agree with it, but regardless, he is spot on. And then he continues, don't be foolish to believe he's the only player that felt this way. He was just the first to speak out about it. He won't be the last. Yeah, I think we said that, haven't we? Even when it was all kind of falling apart with Steve Kenny. We said that, like, wait till the books come out. There'll be people talking about the whole setup, and
it did remind me a little bit of Matt Doherty, though. If you just see the wonderful shirt there, I have to get that mention of that again. But it reminded me of with Martin O'Neill, where he come out and told a few stories out of school, and Martin O'Neill called him a prick, didn't he, or something?
Tosser, called him a tosser.
Yeah.
Who calls anyone a tosser anymore?
Sacrosanct changing room. What goes on, you keep it in
house rules.
But I think that's what it reminded me of a little bit here with this. So yeah, it's good. It's a bit of good crack as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It makes it all very interesting. Paul Brown, P.S. Please can we get an experienced manager, even retired, semi-retired, ex-great European manager? He could have a younger coaching ticket around him, but please be an experienced manager. I think those days are gone. I think, Paul, we're about 20 years too late for that, mate. Dave McGuinness again. I said for ages that the players weren't playing for him, particularly in the last year, and this is an example of frustration the players endured. Do agree with that, David? They weren't. They were playing for him at one stage, and I think when the whole thing happened in November, if I'm not going to bang on about 2022, you could see he'd lost the plot a bit, and we called it here. Albeit we were called something else. We called it here in this podcast. We said that's it for him. It's done. That's when I knew it was done for Stephen Kenny. And I think we pretty much all said the same thing when he picked that. With the whole thing with Malta and Norway, it was a catastrophe.
Yeah, I mean, just to we have spoken about Stephen Kenny in the past a lot, and what a nice guy and stuff we found him when we've met him and interaction with him, of course, and with the FAI. But very emotive character, and even tonight, I think it is breaking that he was asked in the preparation for the St. Pat's game coming up. He's asked about McClean's comments, and he has said he's going to respond to it. So, that it's going to rumble on and on. So it's interesting, but I think even Kenny does like to have these kind of media kind of junkets, where he can kind of set out his stall and kind of justify some of his interpretation of what's happened in Irish football. He did that before, didn't he? And I liked it when he was an Ireland manager doing that, because he was coming out fighting, but sadly he wasn't able to deliver. And and that's why he paid the price of his job.
I think it's going to be death by PowerPoint. Stephen Kenny.
Well, if he comes from McClean, I mean, McClean won't let it drop either. So that's why it's I can see this going rumbling on and on and on, and then I think it will other players will come in and say they'll come and go, this is nonsense now.
Don't worry, folks. We'll cover it when it does go. When the shit hits the fan. Andrew Ringo, McClean was a mediocre player at best. Connor, how you doing, Connor McAvoy? Republic of Ireland player tracker. Give those guys a follow over on Twitter. He does great work. He's a good lad, Connor. I missed you, buddy. I missed you sitting next to me in a barrel. Sorry, I had to put up with this old moan bastard over there. Buddy, just having a.
Who were you? You had a great seat in the stadium though. Sent you a photo, didn't I? Lovely little photo.
You did
Your
sit next to
your new bestie.
Dan and I. We were like that. It was funny because I was actually showing him the. No, I'm helpful. You know me. I'm a lovely fella, Martin. I'm just misunderstood. No, I try to be helpful. I was there with Damien Spellman, actually, from PA, or AP, sorry, Associated Press.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to nice guy who got a taxi back to the station. Not stranded, but like he was trying to give me money. I was like, no. You know, he was heading back to Sunderland. Jesus, through the night, like getting a train and again, like a plane first thing in the morning. But anyway, and I said to
Didn't hear me complaining. I did the same. I was probably more hydrated.
Yeah, you were well oiled, shall we say? Did you got your taxi all right? I just went back to try to have a sleep. And then sitting next to Dan, I said to him, like, do you want to watch? If you want to watch the game, because we didn't have any monitors, we just, it was on the laptop, so that's why I had to write my notes down. Which, Jesus, you swear I was well hydrated. My handwriting, and he didn't want to watch it. He wanted to watch it on the screen because, to be fair, it was like a 2-minute delay on my laptop. But Dan's all right. He's a good lad. I like, I read the stuff. We subscribe to the Irish Independent. Like reading the gear. But anyway, we'll go on. Connor, Dan, if you're watching, you see me with a Dan McDonald t-shirt behind me here now. Connor, Shane McClean left McCarthy's dismal Euro 2020 campaign off his Instagram story, seeing as he said we have qualified under him. We'd have qualified under him, yep, and he did not get us a playoff place. That was due to a dismal Nations League. That was a terrible campaign. I mean, I don't blame Mick for that one too much. He was told to get us to the Euros, just get us to the Euros. And of course, what happened. Liam Brady, how you doing, Leon? Over on Twitter, McClean is a cartoonish, moaning, or gesticulating walking contradiction. Wow, I like it. He talks nonsense. I'm watching the BBC for the Euros. RT, get rid of him. Dave McGuinness, the players knew they were able to win, draw, ugly, yet the Messiah wouldn't allow it and couldn't see it. Stephen Kenny, obviously. It's a damning verdict on him and his ideals on what he had at his disposal. As his self-belief that he could make us play like Brazil 1970, maybe Brazil in their 70s. Nuri Nurek, how you doing, Nuri Nurek? Good to see you over. No, I didn't actually see him over in Aveiro. Great trip. But why Aveiro? 0 public transport to the ground, 6 kilometres from the city, would still be stranded there, but for a lift from a Risk London booked taxi. That was an hour and a half late. Martin, the chairman of Risk London, hour and a half late.
What? I was with him. That's the taxi I was with.
Was I in that taxi as well?
But for a lift from Risk London. No, this is the one stranded back out to it.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Back home, this was. Yeah, we all walked to the petrol station, which is miles walked along the motorway. And we ended up getting about an hour later, but yeah, you wouldn't, if you didn't get a lift, you would. No,
I mean, I had to get a Bolt. Get the Bolt app. Bolt's great. They accept it all around Europe. But I got shanghaied into, as Declan said to me in the taxi going out there, well, you're media, Dave. Like, this is, you deserve this. I was like, thank you very much. So thank you very much. Because I was going to walk to the ground, which wouldn't have been a good idea. But yeah, he is right.
I think I made some inappropriate jokes. I'm just remembering them. I'm not going to repeat them. Definitely not repeating them.
No, we don't want to get kicked off here. But yeah, but he is right though. Nuri, great trip. But why Aveiro? Very convoluted. Why not in Porto? Play in the in the Porto state. What's it called? We went past it on the way to the training ground. It just would have made more sense. Lovely place, Aveiro. Nice people, but the ground was just built for the Euros, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's nothing out there. We found a bar, and it was very reasonably priced. I couldn't believe it, really. But
very cheap Portugal.
Yeah, it was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's actually quite, yeah. Except for the 20 quid I pay for fucking Burger King at the airport. But anyway, Connor never lost by more than 2 goals under Kenny in a competitive game against some top nations as well. McClean, just a bluffer. Kenny gave him his 100 caps and his break in football. Dave McGuinness, says, infuriating to see all the comments his past 24 hours. People out there hated to trap Martin O'Neill, Kerr, McCarthy, but seem to think the Messiah is immune to any criticism. He isn't. He fully deserves to be called out on his dire 3 years as Ireland boss. Connor again. Embarrassing for Morty, bringing him in as a pundit. Boring to listen and shows no knowledge or research done. Well, I mean, he got the whole thing wrong with the playoff, didn't he? Imagine crying because you didn't get called up when you were playing in fucking League Two. Connor's got an. Do you reckon Connor's on the sauce, Martin?
He may well be, and we better not talk about national anthems or anything like that because he gets very upset about that. Although I did post on to him 8 years today. We were playing at Euro 2016 against Sweden, and I posted the viral video of my son on my shoulders. I look a lot younger than 8 years ago, of him singing around Levine, and yeah, nice. Like, because I thought Connor would like to see that because, you know, he's very passionate about you know, the Irish players singing the anthem. I didn't see it too closely because they didn't have screens in the stadium the other day for that.
No, they just had the scoreboard, didn't they?
Yeah, who was singing or not?
Yeah, I was actually. I must admit, I was getting a little teary eyed. You know, love hearing the Rendezvous.
That was brilliant,
you know.
wasn't it?
Yeah, bit like giving you here.
Did you see the weird thing though? So the players turned towards us. The management turned towards the stand where you were.
Yes.
Right, because they had two guys, didn't they, with the Irish flag there?
They always do that, yeah, because they didn't have the flags, but they don't have the flag poles in some of these stadiums. I remember that in Athens as well, and they had, to be fair, they had the lads, they tied and he put the flag down so the players could face. It's just a bit of a miscommunication.
I held one up though. Can I just say I did hold one up? I was part of the little team with Steve McNulty hung it up to display to the lads if they did want to. Maybe they would turn to us, Dave.
Good. Yeah, maybe they were. Good man, Steve. Yeah. Steve, he bought me a Coke.
Oh, Jesus.
He did. Do you remember that? You remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah, I do.
You were
bollocks.
Right. Yeah, bollocks. You were bollocks. No. If you're watching Caroline, he was. He was good as gold.
I'm going to just say a story quickly. I said to you, didn't I? Like, I'm leaving at 6 a.m. and I'm going to take a photo of myself every hour. And I set an alarm on. This is how sad it was, right? But I set the alarm to go off every hour. So even on the flight, it was going off every hour. So I would just take a quick photo because I wanted to see. It was like that thing, you know, at the wedding. This is my first drink. This is my last drink. I wanted to kind of do that. I've got about 16 photos out of like the 24-hour trip.
Oh, it's not bad actually.
It isn't too bad, but yeah, it's because it was getting a bit embarrassing in the game when the alarm kept going off. But yeah, so yeah, there's some good ones. But yeah, I was quite impressed with myself at the end. To be fair.
Good man. Yeah. Because remember, you text me. I was still in bed when you'd arrived. You had a couple of players on the flight. We won't mention that.
You said send more photos. I don't know what you're on about.
Wi-Fi wasn't working. Brendan Byrne, all heart, that can never be disputed. This about McClean. I think what he alluded to was that you can't make yourself a person with soul's ear, so play to your strengths. And you know what, Brendan? I think there is a little bit of a truth to that as well. Connor, stop sitting on the fence, Barton. He's a fucking numpty about James McClean. See, anybody watching this for the first time, we mean it when we say, you know, say what you want within reason. This is, and they are watching, by the way. I'm sure some of the players do watch this and have a look. So, anyway, Dave McGuinness, it doesn't lack class. That's towards me saying that it lacked class what McClean did. He's a centurion and entitled to voice an opinion. When asked, what was he supposed to do? Lie? No, have class. No, I think he has lacked class, Dave. I'm sorry, I love you, but I got to disagree with you there. And you've seen the way he's reacted. Now, to be fair, I put that up after you made that comment, but you've seen how he's reacted to like fan pages, kind of, you know, questioning me. He goes for the nuclear button. He gets personal. You know what? You're not allowed to have an opinion because you haven't played. You know, he's played 100 games. He's very lucky to play 100 games for Ireland, and you know, fair play to him. But I just think he just needs to show a little bit of decorum and count to 10 before speaking. Sometimes, Richard Joyce, Kenny was the worst Ireland manager I've ever seen. Complete jackass trying to buy time with young players while forcing all the players to retire, but don't agree with McClean about O'Shea getting the job. No, I still think Stan was worse because of the players he had. Dave McGuinness, if you're asked your opinion, you give it. Del O'Brien, I thought he was great, spoke honestly, unlike a lot of pundits. And James McClean, I mean, he will be box office Martin, won't he?
He will be. He's probably looking at Roy Keane now and thinking, Roy does it, why don't I? Be a bit controversial as well, and he'll get the FAI ticket now to be on their coverage. Well, I mean the RTE one, he'll be all over that one, and then that's it. You know, you're in there, and you're always good for a soundbite, and he's not gonna, you know, mess that up. I don't think. And he will bring it online as well. That's it. It's all good coverage.
It's going to be interesting. Richard Joyce McClean saying there's nothing to lose by appointing O'Shea. Nothing, only a World Cup campaign. Sure, what's that? And looking at the 4 games, O'Shea has made it clear he's not the man for the job. Del O'Brien, O'Shea has done okay. Played some brave football in stages. You can't touch him for 4 games. Give him a chance. Who else have we got? That's the thing. If they gave it to O'Shea, I said, just give it to him. Just give it to him because there's no one else. You know, and that's not really fair on O'Shea. And it's not because I think O'Shea's a brilliant, brilliant coach. And I don't want to be disrespectful to John O'Shea because you know what? He's been brilliant he's been brilliant for the FAI stepping in here. So he has acted with class.
Yeah.
And he really has acted with class. So fair play to him. And I do think he's been strung along by the FAI.
He definitely has. And I've said that before, and I think I'm kind of protective of it, really, because he has. We were even talking at one stage of Chris Hughton to come in, like someone experienced to steady the ship. That wasn't possible, but John O'Shea's come in inexperienced, and I think he's done that, and he's made it quite positive to camp and everything like that. I like even the media coverage. We spoke before, didn't we? How he's quite media trained. He does this thing actually, because Tony O'Donoghue's interview with him was quite spiky. Tony's getting this bit of a reputation for this though now, isn't he? Because he does. It's a little bit wind-uppy. And saying, why are you bothering speaking to the players about things? Like, why are you pointing things out to them? But that's what a good coach would do. Even if he's not going to be the future manager, he can pass on his experience to something. That's what a pundit kind of does as well. They say these things. So I was a bit uncomfortable with that. But John O'Shea does this thing that Aidan O'Brien, the horse racing trainer, does. Very good. Always refer to the interviewee and uses their name a little bit. It kind of softens people to use it, but it's quite respectful, I think.
Well, he know Tony,
isn't it, David?
Yes, it is, Martin. We were saying about what was it? About Jonathan and Martin. Remember when we were on a first name basis back in February? Look, I mean, Tony O'Donoghue, gentleman, by the way, lovely man. You always say hello to him on the, I let him crack on, but I always just say hello because I'm a lovely man.
Tony's a good guy, without doubt.
But I mean, John O'Shea, to be fair, he cares. He does care. This is a passion project for him. He doesn't need the money. He wants to do this. He really wants to do this.
He wants to be a coach. He wants to be a manager. He's been given that opportunity. So he's going to always be able to say the manager of Ireland for 4 games, and that's there now. And did a lot of positives. The lads will be very positive about it, I think. Last one in March, remember those people saying I was the times on the pitch and things, but he would have pissed people off in that one because he wasn't going to be able to give them all time. I think he's managed the group quite well now, giving them time and asking them to do things and little messages, and I think that's he's actually done well. That I think there's some players there who were probably in danger of kind of fading out a little bit, like O'Dowd had quite a good window, I think. I'm saying that in all seriousness. The amount of people who said, "Oh, he played really well the other day," and I think that was good.
He's all right. Yeah,
Onyx as well. He's got over that hurdle. We are missing a lot of players. Let's not forget that as well. And it's difficult, but
we are missing a lot of key players.
We're very trusted. But again, he hasn't pissed off the old guard either in a way. So it's quite clever.
But
that wasn't his job, as you said before.
That was his job to do that, to not piss off the old guard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He hasn't. Yeah, I know. Yeah. So he's done that quite well as well.
Yeah, but that's what he's supposed to act like. The manager is a statesman. Anyway, we'll move it on. Dave McGuinness, Connor, celebrating losses and starting sentences with words like "we only lost by." It's the loser mentality that Kenny and his disciples got far too comfortable with. No previous manager could tolerate that around the team. Counting goals in losses is an argument in Kenny's defence. That holds no water. Losing is losing, and to compare to 2-0 loss and to deem it dramatically different to a 3-0 loss is a bit pathetic. Portugal are way better than an Ireland team, says Connor, missing 5-6 possible starters, as you alluded to, Martin. The setup from O'Shea was an embarrassment. This is Connor from send all your hate tweets to from Iron Player Tracker. It was an embarrassment for O'Shea playing Smonix and Parrott on the wing in a game where you need legs was a joke. I do agree with that though, with Connor. The setup was wrong. We should have packed the midfield. You ain't going to play Portugal off the park. You just have to try and stifle them as much as you can. And then they'll adapt because they're that good. And then you go again. Like the Borg, you try to adapt. Anyway, that's my very basic knowledge. James will be coming after me. James McClean, that is. Dave McGuinness, from what I've heard from other coaches in the FEI, the professionalism of John O'Shea and still so far, it's like comparing apples and oranges. Players are naturally going to warm to that. They do speak very highly of him. The FEI do, and all the players do, but not being funny. They all spoke highly of Kenny as well, didn't they? All the players did, including Coleman and Doherty.
But it's very clever. Well, it's not clever of O'Shea. It's just what I would expect. You want people you're working with, or to think highly of you and stuff. So in that kind of small window he had.
Yeah. Paul Brown, John O'Shea is managers in shit pre-tournament friendly, so let's not get carried away. Dave McGuinness says players will say what they need to say on camera or to a journo. They all praise Kenny, but we are learning and will learn more that they didn't all mean that. Prudence there. It's what we just said, actually. Connor, question for you, Mr. Prendergast. Did you ask them why their son Matt doesn't sing our national anthem?
I didn't ask him that, but I have seen some Irish fans who were travelling back and they have a photo with Darragh O'Shea and Matt Doherty's in it. That's funny, that, and they've kind of scribbled out his face. And one of them said in the comments, we asked him, and he said it's because I do not want to.
Yeah, I did want to mention that because it was like, maybe.
No, but that's why. Yeah, that's right though. But that's fair play. It's up to him, isn't it? I mean, the other argument about the anthem is that people could just I don't know. It's just, why are you gonna? If you're not comfortable when you're in the zone in a way, I'm obviously making an argument.
It's not a big.
Sing it. I think you should sing it, and I think you should be passionate about singing it because not like the rugby lads. I'll upset the rugby aficionados now who follow the Lansdowne Roar, but I think the rugby lads get far too emotional with it. I think you should be passionate about it and be respectful.
I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal for me. If you're delivering, if they're out there banging goals in and winning, people wouldn't care. I think. I know it does annoy people. I see it all the time. For me, if you're a player and you go, well, when I'm in the zone, I want to be in the zone. You do your thing. Players are very fastidious, aren't they? They'll have certain boots and they'll wear certain socks and back in the old days, they have their little things that they do. They're very what's the word I'm looking for?
Superstitious.
That's the word I'm looking for as well.
I've got a quick question. I just want to put it out to listeners now, right? I've seen a lot of the foot players play for Ireland who were on the pitch the other night against Portugal. A lot of them posted their photos, great camp or whatever, proud to play for this team and blah blah blah. And it was quite interesting. And I wanted to see what the view of the Raw faithful is. That most of their photos featured them in an interaction with Ronaldo, right, in the photo, and I thought that was quite telling. Now I have an opinion on this, but I'm interested to see what the Raw faithful's view is of the lads doing that.
What's your opinion, Martin? Is it to get more views? Is it?
Well, it is that, but again, no. I want to read some of the comments later on, and then I'll give you my opinion if that's okay, Dave.
That's fair enough.
And if you are watching the show, message now the link to the show and get a few more people watching along with us.
Yes, tell people we've got over 2,000 people watching this, by the way, Martin. Just to let you know.
That's great.
Thank you for those. It's 11:10 at night. We've got over 2,000 people watching us live. Brilliant, fantastic support again from the Raw faithful, and over at Republic of Ireland player tracker as well. Thank you, Connor. If you don't follow him already, give him a follow over Republic of Ireland player tracker. Back to the comments. Piotr Dugan, you can't blame Kenny for losing the playoff to Slovakia. We played well that night and created better chances. I doubt McCarthy would have done any better. Kenny's fault, Horahan missed. Sorry, not Kenny's fault. Horahan missed a sitter. Doherty missed a sitter as well, didn't he, in that game? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Very unlucky. I think at the beginning of Stephen Kenny's reign, he had no luck. Now, you create your own luck as well. But he had no luck in the early part. But I think, with everything that happened towards the end, he sort of negated that, didn't he? But yeah, people forget that game. We were very good in that and lost in a penalty shootout. Paul Brown, give it a big Sam and let him go up against England. Richard Joyce is clearly going to be Willie Sagnol. He's the best choice from the rest of the pack or bunch. East Coaster, how you doing, East Coaster? Over on Twitter, we need a new start, an experienced international coach who can devise a plan that works for us and can get the best out of limited players. Harvey Renard, step forward and take a bow. It will take more funding than currently on offer, though. I don't think it's going to be forthcoming, East Coaster. Richard Downey, crazy expecting Cullen and Smallbone to cope in midfield as both are not strong tacklers. Need Knight in also no pace on the wings. Either Hodge or Bosun Lawal should have been in the squad. Also, I do agree there. Should have packed the midfield. Dave McGuinness, Piotr, how is the playoff in Slovakia not Kenny's fault? It was shy tactics against a very poor Slovakia side, and we didn't get near them. Also, we were completely unprepared for a penalty shootout. Can we still apologise for Stephen fucking Kenny? I don't think you like Stephen Kenny, Martin. What do you reckon? That and Luxembourg, and Azerbaijan, and Armenia, and Qatar.
I need to meet David. I mean, I know he said to us in the past at Devonshire in London.
We have met David.
I know. I need to meet him again for a pint in the Devonshire. I'm putting that out there to him now. Can you arrange that, please? I'll actually go for a meal.
Pint in the Devonshire. Yeah, I'll tell you what, Dave, you want to sit down? And we'll have a live podcast. We'll give you your own personal podcast, and you can tell us how much you love Stephen Kenny in person. Dave McGuinness, Sagnol will have his head turned. Better jobs will come his way. That's what you said, Martin. To be fair, earlier on. You're absolutely right, Dave. Yes.
Words that have never been said on this before.
It's true, actually. The right manager will get a tune out of this group of players. We may write off this Nations League and just get through it with the new manager and be ready for the World Cup qualifiers in March. I hope I'm wrong, though. Don't think you will be. Piotr Dugan again. It's Willie Sagnol after the Euros. Look at the evidence. It all points to him since March. The manager search has gone completely dead. It's obvious they are waiting for him to finish with Georgia. Piotr, totally agree with you. However, there's nothing been signed. There's been no pre-contract agreement. Jack Santini, when he went to the Euros, it was Euros 2004, the one at Greece one. He signed a pre-contract agreement with Spurs, didn't he? And he was the Spurs manager there. So these things happen, but we haven't had that with the FAI. So nothing is. You'd imagine that's who they're going after, but clearly nothing has been agreed because there's nothing to be signed. You can get a manager to sign a pre-contract agreement.
Yeah, you can. It reminded me actually the Paddy Power kind of parody thing today. That was quite good, where they were discussing the manager and saying, the FAI headquarters, as if they won't have to pay someone until September. Yeah. That was quite funny.
I did see that. Was very funny, actually. Moving on. Viper Higgins, how you doing, Viper? I wouldn't be surprised if the FAI somehow bringing Robbie Keane before September. Never say never. Paul Brown, our use of Sammy Smollett is awful. Banging goes to Blackburn and he plays out of position for us, for fuck's sakes. Yep, he's a number 10. He should be playing behind a striker. The thing is, though, is that the opposition that we're playing against is high-end opposition, and Portugal are one of the best teams in the world, ranked 6. We played 26th in the world, or 20th in the world, Hungary, and Belgium, and of course Switzerland. That you're not really going to be able to implement. They're tough games. This is where you want your Latvias, your Lithuanians. No offense to them, to sort of build up the confidence, get the team plan together, and yet you're playing just top end. You're trying to actually put out fires, then build a house kind of thing. But anyway, I'm going on there. Jim Bear, how you doing, Jim? The FAI can hire Big Sam Allardyce as long as he brings Natalie Pike, his
co-host
with him. It'll be like Trap and his translator all over again. Something to distract us from boring football.
Manuela,
she follows me on Twitter. Just thought I'd say that. I asked her she'd come on.
I bet you followed her around Dublin a few times.
Do you know, she actually bumped into me.
She's lovely, Manuela. She was lovely with the fans, and she was great crack.
Yeah, she got it. She got it. I don't mean that in a dirty way. Foley 5. How you doing, Foley? Evening, lads. How you doing, Foley 5? Good man. Glad you're what I believe you're a man. Anyway, Viper Higgins, what starting 11 would you guys go if all players are fit? They love throwing these ones in, don't they? The Raw faithful.
Big question. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's very hard.
Because it's systems and everything, isn't it? I
Mm.
think obviously Kelleher in goal, Amabamidele, and I'd probably go with a flat. Let's say let's just say 4-4-2, right? Just for argument's sake, so we don't get too bogged down. So what left back? Manning.
I'll be honest. I still go Robbie Brady. I think
you go Robbie Brady. Still Robbie Brady.
I still would. Yeah, if you're gonna hit about 4, yeah, I think there's no one else coming.
The problem, Manning, is his lack of pace. That's the problem. He's a long shot merchant, but it's his lack of pace, and he seems to fall out with coaches. Not fall out with coaches, not behavioural issue, but they seem to go off him. Centre back, Amabamidele and Collins. I would go with. Right back would be Festy. We need him in there. Darragh O'Shea, he can also slide in as a right back, can't he? Or is that left back?
Yeah. Darragh O'Shea can go left back as well. Yeah,
they're quite versatile. To be
fair. I think we're going to complicate if we go and try and go 4-4-2. If we did it off the same formation, so the
4-4-2 complicated.
Well, no, I'm saying that because out of our current squad, you can kind of put them in where they are now, can't you? The three. So the three centre backs, if you're going to play, which three centre backs would you play? Mine are O'Shea, Collins, and probably Jacob Ryan. To be honest, not Amabamidele, not yet.
Okay,
any three of them, and then right wing back, I'd go Benny for the width there. Robbie Brady on the left. I think you're going to have Smallbone and Josh Cullen are going to be in there now. Obviously, that's leaving out Malumbi. Well, then you're going to have Sammy Smodics, and I'm still going to go with Evan Ferguson up top.
No, I would have Knight. I would have I'd have Cullen sitting. I'd have Knight, Smallbone in front of him, and I would have Smodics in front behind. I'd have Smodics behind Ferguson and probably Tom Cannon or Troy Parrott.
Yeah, it's a really hard question, to be honest, because it's just where we are at the moment, and a lot of injured players come back in. So.
Have I done an Alan Hansen? Have I gone with an extra player? Haven't I? Yeah, I have. Sorry. No, I play Smodics in behind.
Steve Staunton did that when he was also manager.
Sorry, I play Smodics in behind Evan Ferguson. There you go. Because you have the pace and you have the big man up top.
Yeah, I don't think we've answered that very well at all. Sorry, but we will do a post. We'll do some posts on our socials to say if everyone was available, this is what I'd go with.
Yeah,
and a formation of our choice.
There you go. God, if you want your football knowledge, lads, come here. we got you sorted. Craig, Ronaldo scored both goals off Scales, didn't he? Scales is just not good enough, in my opinion. It looked like he was trying to play cricket out there. It was terrible against Greece as well. I was there. That is true, actually. Didn't all 3 goals come down that side? They came down the left side, didn't they? The first one, although Smodics didn't pick up his man and Scales wasn't well. I mean, he was kind of so short there a bit. And then, the 2 goals from Ronaldo. Then we're on that side. It all came down the left-hand side. Just saying. Connor, all O'Shea had to do was rewatch the game versus Portugal away under Kenya and literally copy the game plan. The plan was perfect that day. Just got beaten by 2 special moments. Yeah, by the ref. Craig, I think we do a lot better against Portugal if we have Amabamidele, Ogbeni, and Ferguson as well. And Collins. There are a lot of players missing, to be fair. And they didn't have anyone missing. Craig, unfortunately, in the Wexford League, we have to pay a £5, not £2, as James McClean alluded to earlier. Pater Dugan always thought McClean was full of himself when it came to playing for Ireland. He always thought he was more Irish than anyone else in the team and should be picked for that reason. Dave McGuinness, you did call it on Kenny. To be fair, the Malta-Norway games exposed what a shambles he was. Thank you. See, David, I'm getting loads of compliments here. New away strip Warner Portugal, but 0 mention of it on a Story website, let alone on sale there. Further evidence of what a shit show they are. That's a brilliant point. New away jersey launched. Oh, well, I don't know. Is it on sale?
No, it's not even launched. That's a joke. You know me, my kid. I don't know. I'll see. Hold on. Matt might send me one if he's watching. No.
Hold on. Go on, you talk. I'll have a look.
Yeah, no. So, we looked this up and we inquired on this. And you remember, Nuri Nurik, who we know well, long-term listener of the show. He was the one who sent us that photo from Grafton Street of the scarves that they made with the spelling mistake. Yeah, Castore is a bit of a joke at the moment, and
Not the website.
we just get this wrong. This look, we are 2 days out from the Euros taking place in Germany, and we've got new kits out, and a new kit out, and kids in Ireland will be running around with Mbappe. I'm not saying and Ronaldo or Bruno Fernandes, whoever else they want to follow. They'll be doing that, and we should be launching this at different times to them big nations in a way if we're trying to promote Irish football, but we don't get it right. They've still not got it right with their promotion and merchandise. You can't get it yet. We've also spoke. I mean, actually, we had a conversation in the Vero and the little square there. I think I took a photo, and it wasn't the greatest photo in the world, but I think we looked at. I said to you, didn't I, about shirts on show? How many different Ireland shirts there were. Now, okay, we're talking about a team from like 88, for example, was the earliest one we could see. But just amount of like different manufacturers, different shirts. Give a shout out actually to lads in the new shirt. And I didn't get a photo of them, but it was brilliant. And there must be one on social media somewhere. And it didn't have Sky on the front of it. It just had Dodgy Box. Good effort. Well done, lads. Fair play.
Well done. If you're watching this, well done. Or if you know the person, let them know. I was going to ask for a picture, but I felt a bit in that. The orange away shirt, it's not bad looking. Not out, not available. Couldn't buy it anywhere there. They had a promo video for it. Why would you have... Because I was thinking, we're going to be wearing white against Portugal. It's Portugal, the colour clash. Why wouldn't you have that on sale? Who makes that decision? I mean, what is going on here?
Ridiculous. And the video was shot ages ago because Evan Ferguson's in it. And
that looked photoshopped, to be honest.
Just absolutely shite.
It's so.
It just shows where we are. It's a really good point, Nuri Nurik. Thanks for that.
Yep. Yeah. No, great point there. Dave McGuinness, Kenny should dismiss it, responding to James McClean, that is, telling the press he's going to talk about distracts from his job at Pats, and that's what he should be focusing on, the job at Pats. The Ireland job will haunt him forever if he feels every bit of criticism that comes his way. 2 wins